Who had the best X-frame in bodybuilding history? What is an X-frame? I guess as this video unfolds, we will find out an answer to all those questions. This is actually a fan request. You guys never cease to amaze me. I say it time and time again. You guys come up with so many interesting ideas for bodybuilding videos. So on with this one, the best X-frames. Why are we beginning with John Grimmick? With all due respect to this guy, he was maybe one of the very first ever real bodybuilders, and I think at that oh my goodness, he'd give Dextric Lewis a run for his money. But anyway, at that time, I highly doubt that an X-frame was even in the judges' vocabulary. Now, the first guy with kind of an X-frame to his physique was this guy, Steve Reeves. But to be honest, he was more of a Y-taper. And I know what some of you are thinking. Steve Reeves' X-frame was just fine. Hear me out and give me a chance to show you the rest of the selections. Have a look at this guy. He competed around Steve Reeves' time. This is George Eiferman. And they all closed their legs, which is funny. You know, today's day and age, they spread eagle to try to maximize their leg size. He had his legs closed, kind of like what Ronnie Coleman did even. And he still had that incredible X-frame. So George Eiferman, one of the very first true X-frames in bodybuilding. There were others. Here's Freddie Ortiz. If you've never heard of Freddie Ortiz, this guy was incredible. And if I'm not mistaken, he competed in the short man category, or would be the lightweight class in today's standards. And if you still don't understand what I mean by X-frame, have a look at this side-by-side comparison. You can't get through a Marks Max Muscle video without a good comparison. Freddie Ortiz side-by-side with Franco Columbu, and absolutely, Freddie Ortiz has the X-frame, and Franco, with all due respect, an H-taper? That's terrible. Franco would still get him in like a bodybuilding matchup with sheer muscle and condition, I would suggest. But that's not what this video is about. It is about bodybuilders with X-frames. And this dude here, maybe the best just natural X-frame. I'm not saying he's 100% natural, but this guy's X-frame, Jim Hazlip, second to none. Look at this. That's the true test. Just a standing, relaxed position. And it goes to show you the ingredients that it takes to have an X-frame. You need a wide clavicle, wide shoulders, little skimpy waistline. You see that? Some lats to create the X, the lines. Nom sing. Can't just be skinny with a wide shoulders. And the most important ingredients were those big, giant quads. You see a lot of Y-tapers, but not too many X-frames. And as I was listing off those special ingredients, I am sure that this man came to most of your guys and gals' minds. Sergio Oliva, Sr. This guy had the perfect X-frame. Actually, after seeing Jim Hazlip may be underrated. But anyway, no disrespect at all meant to this guy here. Certain pictures show that he had, again, I'll use that word, natural V-taper. Even though, yes, these guys were enhanced. But you cannot enhance the actual X-frame of these guys. Now, another comparison, and I hate to diss, two legends like Franco and Arnold this time. Two of the great ones. Can't take anything away from them, but this is more to credit guys like Freddie Ortiz and Sergio Oliva. I mean, take a look at Arnold. He has the big upper body. At least he's not an H. He's more of the Y taper. A Y frame, I guess you could say. And a Y taper. Just goes together. An X frame, X taper. I like X frame. Definitely Sergio Oliva destroying Arnold Schwarzenegger in that aspect. Now, for some reason, all throughout the rest of the 70s, the X-frame became as rare as the dodo bird. I mean, you had Robbie Robinson. He wasn't too bad. But he couldn't hold a candle to any of the other guys that I was mentioning earlier. And this trend it stuck around. This is in the 82, I believe, the 82 Olympia, top 3, and not an X-frame in sight. It was more about conditioning, presentation, I guess, but the bodybuilding world craved a good X-frame. And looky loose, 1983, Lee Haney hit the scene, and he did finally bring a good X-frame to the bodybuilding stage. And obviously, that's what we needed. That's what we wanted, because he reigned supreme for years and years. And really, there was no other X-frames during that time. Or was there? Of course there was. It was Brian Buchanan. Wow. He made everybody else look like they had no shape at all. So Brian Buchanan, maybe not the largest horse out there, but absolutely the best X-frame of his time, actually defeating Lee Haney in that aspect. As you get into the mass monster era, a good X-frame anyway was very hard to find, but Thierry Pastel, he found a way to squeeze that perfect X into the mass monster era. Unbelievable. And like I said, the true test, just stand there, and if he looks like an X, he's got a good X-frame. So Thierry, definitely worth to mention. And like I said, the mass monster era, as we got into that era, there just was no X-frames. They were scarce. And X-frames are scarce in the history of bodybuilding when you think about it. I mean, yes, Kevin Levrone, Dorian Yates, and Flex Wheeler, all very good in their own right. But I think a guy like Ronnie King Coleman, back then, he probably was beating all of them in the X-frame. But even Coleman, I think back then, was his best bet. So really no guys in the 1990s with a great X-frame. Oh, wait. My man, Chris Cormier. How could I forget Chris Cormier? He was an X. He even accentuated it. He accentuated it with his wheels. You guys notice that? But seriously, though, I think he really did have a fantastic X-frame. And if you guys don't know, Chris Cormier, one of my absolute favorite bodybuilders of all time. Flex Wheeler also has a pretty decent X-frame in that picture as well. So, at least in 1999, your top 3, every guy had a decent V-taper. And then we get into the just full-blown mass monster era. This is 2003, and even rarer than the dodo bird was a good X-frame. And did anybody miss them? Some people probably did, with giants like this. And really, there was just no... Oh, wait a second, that guy at the end? He has a pretty decent X-frame. Who am I kidding? This is Tony the X-Man Freeman? Does he have the best X-frame after seeing all those juicy ones? Is that really the proper nickname for this guy? With all due respect, he had a decent X-frame. Here's a picture I was looking at when I was looking through his repertoire of shots. You see that great big guy beside him? That's Joel Stubbs. And if you don't know, if you're not aware, this Tony Freeman, he's 6 feet plus. So what does that make this Joel Stubbs? 7'10"? 7'11"? Wow. It's got to be the biggest back of all time. But anyway, back to Tony Freeman, the X-Men. Yeah, it's a decent X-frame for sure. You know who else had a fantastic X-frame around the same time and nobody really talked about it? The Wolfman, Dennis Wolf. Dun 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 dun. Ow. Yes, Dennis Wolf. Not too many people talk about that X-frame. Couldn't get more wide in the shoulder area. Couldn't get a smaller waistline. Well, yeah, and them quads were massive. I think the thing about Dennis Wolf was he came in a little bit thick in the midsection some of the times. Maybe overindulged in cookies. Was it cookies, Dennis? So I guess he didn't have that classic X-frame all the time, but here in 2013, he definitely resembles that remark. Fast forward to 2019. Oh, the return of the X-frame. Patrick Moore. Patrick Moore. My. You notice how everybody just fell in love with this physique in 2019? Hit the scene because he had a perfect X-frame, and it had been so long since we seen a good X-frame. And say what you will about his last few performances, maybe not the best of placings, but still, always displays the best X-frame out there. And in recent times, there is a breath of fresh air. With help from the judges, it appears that we have been able to save the X-frame in bodybuilding. This is your top 3, and when you compare this with top 3s in the past, I mean, absolutely, the X-frames are getting better and better with time. So, just goes to show you, when the judges are rewarding that type of behavior, that type of physique, then more and more bodybuilders are going to strive for that tiny little wee waistline, booming lats, and flaring quads. So let us hope that that trend continues. You guys think that I left anybody out in this video? Anybody with a great X-frame? Uh-oh, I hear somebody dropping down. Is that... Could that be? Well, I think it is. It's Andrew Jacked, and it is dropping like it's hot, dropping like it's hot. Andrew Jack's gonna get at you. Yes. Andrew Jacked, the obvious answer to the best X-frame of today's competitors. Nobody can touch this guy in the X-frame. Look at this. Possibly the greatest of all time. But if you put me on the spot, if you stop me in the street, I mean, I get recognized all the time. Not for my channel, but that's another story. But either way, if somebody stopped me on the street and said, Mark's Max Muscle, who had the best X-frame in bodybuilding? You know what? I would not give that credit to Andrew Jacked. I would go old school. I'm a traditionalist, like you guys know. I would say Brian Buchanan. Brian Buchanan, sweet success for this man, never won an Olympia title, but he wins the Mark's Max Muscle Best X-Frame in Bodybuilding History Award. So congratulations. Come on, guys. Everybody at home, give him a clap. Yes. There was a lot of X-frames in this video, and it just goes to show you that it is more of genetics than anything else. You can't just train to look like this. Nobody can. Unless you have his genetics, then train away. You might look like this, but I doubt it. Hit thumbs up on the video. Thank you for the fantastic request. Love and appreciate all your guys' comments, and go ahead, get into arguments down there. It's good for the algorithms. Have a great one, guys.